today is a reading day. So you know that we will be doing some reading. Last week we read, and let me pull this up. Miss Williams don't even have. Let me exit out really fast. Last week we discussed and we read a few chapters, and we still were really focusing on just kind of putting together everything we've learned over the course of really this year, and really focusing on like asking questions and answering them about the text. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to read chapter 11. But before we do that, I want us to kind of think back to last week. Whoa. What that was. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. I want us to think back to last week, and I want us to discuss some questions. So can I have a volunteer read the directions as well as read number 1? We're going to go through just a few of these, not all of them, just a few, because some of them we're going to have to read through. Volunteer, read number 1 in directions.
I see Patience's hand.
Patience, go ahead, honey.
What do the foxes find when they began to dig upwards?
Patience, read the directions, honey.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Okay.
Please answer the following question as best you can.
Now read number 1.
What do the foxes find when they began to dig upwards?
Thank you, Patience. Let's see. Alex, do you remember what the foxes found when they began to dig upwards? And remember, we can always ask Miss Williams to go back into the text. We shouldn't be guessing. What did the foxes find when they began to dig upwards? Alex?
Alex, don't forget to unmute yourself. There you go.
They found when they began to dig upwards.
And they found Bobby's chicken house.
Yes, they found Bogus's chicken house. Thank you, Alex. And I'm going to number 5. Once again, we just skipping down just to remember, so I can make sure that we remember what we read last week. Elena, can you read number 5 for us, please?
Okay. What does Mr. Fox give to the biggest of his children?
So what does he give to the oldest fox? We discussed this, I think, to finish off our discussion actually last Wednesday. Let's see.
I see Felix's hand up.
Okay, we can go with him.
Mr. Fox gave the 3 hens to his biggest child.
He gave the 3. You said he gave the 3 hens to the biggest child. Is that what you said, Felix?
Yes.
Okay, good. He gave the oldest fox. He gave the oldest fox the chicken to go take back to Mrs. Fox. And I think what that does is that leads us very smoothly into what we're going to read today. And so, for the sake of time, Miss Miranda and I are going to read chapter 11, also so that you can remember listening to us fluent readers, because we know that's what we're working on becoming. And so Miss Miranda and I are going to read chapter 11, and then we're going to read through chapter 12 together. And we'll come back to finish those questions. So give me a thumbs up if you're ready to learn. Or listen to us read, I should say. I see Jim already. Thank you. I see Esteban. Uh-oh, I see your thumb. Let's see.
Oh, Miss Williams, I forgot. Let me make you the host.
Yeah, can you make me the host?
Yeah. There you go. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thumbs up if we're. Okay, I'll start off reading, and then since I see your hand, you can begin chapter 12. Okay. Okay. Let's go. Chapter 11. A surprise for Mrs. Fox. The small fox ran back along the tunnel as fast as he could, carrying the 3 plump hens. Good job, Felix. You were correct. He was exploding with joy. Just wait, he kept thinking. Just wait till Mommy sees these. He had a long way to run, but he never stopped. Oh, Faith is coming. Sorry. Okay. He had a long way to run. Oh, I can't get this off my screen. Okay. Sorry. Okay. He had a long way to run, but never stopped once on the way. And he came bursting in upon Mrs. Fox. Mommy, he cried, out of breath. Look, Mommy, look. Wake up and see what I've brought you. Mrs. Fox, who was weaker than ever, now from lack of food, opened one eye and looked at the hens. I'm dreaming, she murmured, and closed the eye again. Miss Miranda.
You're not dreaming, Mummy. They're real chickens. We're saved. We're not going to starve. Mrs. Fox opened both eyes and sat up quickly. But my dear child, she cried, where on earth? Boggis's chicken house number 1, spluttered the small fox. We tunneled right up under the floor, and you've never seen so many big fat hens in all your life. And Dad said to prepare a feast. They'll be back soon. The sight of food seemed to give new strength to Mrs. Fox. A feast it shall be, she said, standing up. Oh, what a fantastic fox your father is. Hurry up, child, and start plucking those chickens.
Far away, down in a tunnel, the fantastic Mr. Fox was saying, now for the next bit, my darlings. This one'll be easy as pie, and all we have to do is dig another little tunnel from here to there. To where, Dad? Don't ask so many questions. Start digging. Okay. So hopefully you heard our expression, and now let's apply that to chapter 12. Denila, go ahead and begin reading us this first paragraph along with the title, please. Make sure you're on mute.
Chapter 12. Badger. Mr. Fox and the 3 remaining small foxes dug fast and straight. They were all too excited now to feel tired or hungry. They knew they were going to have a whacking feast. Great feast. Before long, and the fact that it was none other than bogus chickens they were going to eat made their chuggle.
Is that correct, Miss Miranda?
I think it is churgle, yeah.
Yeah.
Churgle with laughter.
No definition, huh? Okay. Just finish that sentence, Denila. Churgle with laughter every time.
Churgle with laughter every time they thought of it. It was lovely to realized that while the fat farmers was sitting up there on the hill waiting for them to starve, he was also giving them their dinner without
No.
knowing it. Keep digging, said Mr. Fox. It's not much further.
Okay, good job, Denilah. Thank you for reading. Let's pause there for a second. And I want let's see. Adrian, can you make a prediction? What do you think they're digging to now? What do you think they're going? Make sure you ask yourself. Is Adrian there? Adrian.
Yes.
Okay, can you make a prediction on where you think the foxes, where are they digging to now? We learned that they went to the chicken farmer, Bogus house. So where do you think that his plan is leading them to now? Just take a risk. You know you haven't been here, so just take a risk.
Escape.
Okay, so maybe they're trying to escape. Thank you, Adrian. Let's hear from somebody else. I saw somebody with a hand up. Emmanuel, what about you? He used his Zoom hand.
I think they're going to the farmer's barn.
Okay, you think that they're going to the farmer's barn. Okay, well, let's keep reading to figure it out. Esteban, you got a hand up. Can you go ahead and read the next paragraph?
All of a sudden, a deep voice above their heads said, "Who goes there?" Quick, the foxes jumped. They looked up quickly, and they saw peeking through a small hole in the roof of the tunnel a long, black, pointed, furry face. "Badger!" cried Mr. Fox. "Foxy!" cried Badger. "My goodness me, I'm glad I've found someone at last. I've been digging around in circles for 3 days and nights and I haven't the foggiest idea where I am."
Oh my gosh. We see a new character. Who is this new character? Oh my gosh, I should see a lot of hands. Who is this new character?
I see Evan.
Foxy! Da, 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 da. Who is the new character that we just were introduced to? You see who? You can call on someone, Miss Miranda.
Oh, Evan.
Evan. Who is our new character?
A badger.
Badger. And from the sounds of it, Evan, do it sound like they know each other?
Yeah,
Yeah,
kinda.
yeah, it kind of sounds like they know each other. We don't know that yet. We have to continue reading, but it sounds like they kind of know each other. I see several people with their cameras off. Interesting, because we're reading. If you can put your camera on, please put it on. So that way we know that you're paying attention. Thank you. Okay. Who wants to read next? Nikayla, was that your hand to read? Okay, go ahead. Badger made. Make sure you unmute yourself.
Hold on for 1 minute.
Badger made.
Badger made a hole in the ceiling bigger and sat down beside the foxes and small badger. His son His son dropped down after him. Haven't you heard what's happening up on the hill? Badger said excitedly. It chose.
Try that one again. It that makes the k sound in our special rule. It somebody help her out. It's go ahead and say it.
Chaos.
Chaos. Thank you, love.
It's chaos. Half the wood has disappeared, and there are men with guns all over countryside. None of us can get out, even at night. We are starving to death. Who is we? Who is we? Asked Mr. Fox. All desire
All of slow down some honey. All of us.
diggers. That's me and Mo. A rabbit in all our ways, and children even.
Stop right there, honey. Thank you. So all of us diggers. That's me and Mo and Rabbit and all of our wives and children. Jayana, what is Badger and Mr. Fox talking about right now?
Badger and Mr. Fox are talking about they are starving, like they want food.
Okay, Badger and Mr. Fox are saying that they're starving to death. And what role does Badger play? Badger, his wife, the rabbit, and the mole. What are they? Danae, what are they doing? What are they doing?
What they're doing is
Look in this area, honey.
Mom.
What are they doing? You wanna take a risk or phone a friend, Danae?
Find a friend.
Okay, let's phone a friend then. Someone who hasn't spoke.
Evan.
I think Evan has spoke. Let's phone someone else. Christian, Elena, Dave, JV, Christian. What role does Badger play? What is he doing? He is a what?
A digger?
He's a digger. So he's one of the people who the farmers ordered with the 108 I guess people. He's one of the diggers who's trying to dig out Mr. Fox. So now let's keep going. Let's hear from who do we need to read? JV. JV, can you go ahead and read this paragraph? Is he froze? Miss Miranda?
Looking for him. There he is. It looks like he's frozen.
Yeah, it does. Anybody else want to volunteer to read? Once again, to get better at reading, you got to practice. To get better at math, you have to practice.
I see Gemma's hand up.
Gemma, go ahead.
Oh, don't forget to unmute yourself, sweetie.
Evan Weasel, who can usually seek out of the tallest spots, is right now hiding down my hole with Mr. Weasel and hole with Mrs. Weasel and 6 kids. What on earth are What on earth are we going to do, Foxy? I think we're finished. Mr. Fox Mr. Fox looked at his 3 children and he smiled. The children smiled back at him, sharing the secret. My dear old badger, he said, this mess you're in is all my fault. I know it is your fault, said Badger.
Stop right there. Thank you, Gemma. I know it's all your fault, said Badger furiously. Let's see. Who haven't we heard from, Miss Miranda?
We haven't heard from Faith, Logan, Demaya, and
Okay.
JV.
Okay. Let's do Demaya. You're gonna read this paragraph. Logan, this paragraph. And then I don't think we heard from Adrian either. Is he still on call?
I think so.
Let me see how much.
Let's see. He is still here, yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna hear from Faith and then So I said, I know it's your fault. Demaya, start right here, honey. Read this paragraph right here.
And the farmers are not going to give up.
We really can't. Can you get a little closer, honey? Is she here? Try again. It sounded like it was sad. I couldn't hear you.
And the farmers are not going to give up until they got you unfortunately, unfortunately, that means us as well. It means everyone on the hill. Badger sat and put a fold around his small son. We're done for.
Say it softly.
Softly, my poor wife up there is so weak. She can't dig neither yard,
Another yard.
another yard.
Who did I say was next? I think it was
It was
someone who hasn't read.
yeah, it was Logan.
Logan, go ahead.
Nor can mine, said Mr. Fox. And yet, at this very minute, she is preparing for me and my children the most delicious feast of plump, juicy chickens. Stop, 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 cried Badger. Don't tease me. I can't stand it. It's true. It's true, cried the small foxes. That's not teasing. We've got chickens.
Chickens galore.
I can't see those. Chickens galore.
Thank you, Logan. Faith, can you continue? And because.
And because everything is entirely my fault, said Mr. Fox. I invite you to share the feast. I need everyone to share it. You, animal, and rabbit. And weasel.
Mommy.
All of your wives and children will be there will be plenty
Please.
of
It's 1 o'clock.
I
Can I leave this meeting? I am.
Hey, Danae, can you mute yourself?
So, thank you, Faith. I think it's JV who just hasn't went.
Yeah.
So,
And it looked unfrozen.
yep. JV, go ahead. You mean it? JV, unmute yourself, buddy. Unless.
Hey, JV, can you read the next part? Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. All right.
And can you read this next part, please? Adrian. Okay. Let's see.
All right. Adrian's here. Adrian, can you hear us?
Adrian, can you hear us?
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Yeah, we can't force you all to learn France. Let's go with patience. Make sure you unmute yourself. You mean it?
You mean it? It cried. Badger, you really mean it. Mr. Fox pushed his face close to Badger and whispered darkly, "Do you know where we've just been? Where? Right inside Bogus Chicken House number 1. No. Yes, but that is nothing to where we are going now.
Danae,
You
if you keep going, patience. Danae,
you you have just you have come just at the right moment, my dear Badger. You can help us dig, and in the meanwhile, your small son can run back to Mr. Badger.
Okay, patience, slow down, honey. Your small son.
Your small son can run back to Miss Badger.
Mrs. Badger.
Mrs. Badger. And all the others are spread the good news. Mr. Fox turned to badger, the small badger, and said, "Tell them they are invited to a fox feast. Then bring them all down here and follow this tunnel back until you find my home." Yes, Mr.
Yeah, be patient. Okay, so it's been a lot of reading. So now let's stop and check our post. Do anybody want to volunteer and kind of give us, I'm going to give us like 30 seconds to look back at this actually. Let's just spend 30 seconds just looking back at this because it's been a lot of reading. Look back wherever you need to look. And my question is pretty much kind of what's going on. If you could tell, if you were trying to tell a friend what's going on in the story right now, what would you say? Just take a second and look back into the text. Let me see. I see Demaya looking. See Alex looking. Thank you. And then when you're ready or you think you want to share something, just raise a hand. It can be on Zoom or you can just raise it regular. I just want someone to talk about like what we just read. Make meaning of the text. Somebody I have not heard from. Felix, we haven't heard from you. And Felix, you haven't read. I don't think.
Um,
That's it.
Felix, can you hear us?
yes. If I were to tell a friend what's happening right now, I would tell them that Mr. Fox found Bogus's chicken house number 1, and Badger knows now that he went there, and he wants to make it up by inviting them to the feast.
Thank you, Felix. It's plain and simple. Good job. Okay. Well, let's continue read. And anybody want to volunteer to read? Once again, let me just pause right here and say, I realize, friends, that it's a little different because we're online.
Mhm.
But the more that you read and practice and take risk on here, the more prepared you'll be going into next school year. If you decide that you want to like put yourself off video and not pay attention, then Miss Miranda and I cannot force you to do the work, okay? So the more that you commit to trying your very best for 1 hour, the more you'll get out of it. If you don't commit, you won't get a lot out of it. Moving forward, I think I saw Emmanuel hand up, and I'm so sorry. I'm like, something's in my throat. So Emmanuel, Miss Miranda, do you remember where we was at? I'm gonna grab some water.
Let's see. We were, I think it was right here where it said, and in the meanwhile, your small son can run back to Mrs. Badger. Is that the last place we were at?
No, I think it was yes. I think it was
Yeah,
follow this tunnel until you find my home.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, my throat.
All right. Then go ahead and keep reading, Emmanuel.
Yes, Mr. Fox, said the small badger. Yes, sir, right away, sir. Oh, thank you, sir. And he scrambled quickly through the hole in the roof of the tunnel and disappeared.
The end. Oh, Miss
Chapter
Williams,
th-
you muted yourself.
I did. I'm sorry. We're not gonna read chapter 13. Thank you, Emmanuel. Though. We're gonna stop right there. And what we're gonna do for these next few minutes is we're gonna jump back into. Well, first I'm gonna see if anyone has any questions right now for where we're at. Anybody have any questions? Need clarification? After Felix just gave us a rundown of what's going on.
I don't see any hands.
Me either. Okay, perfect. Well, let's come back here. So let's look at number 3. What does Mr. Fox order the small foxes to do when they come out of the tunnel? What did he tell the small foxes to do when they came out of the tunnel? I'm trying to think if this was explicit in a text.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Could you possibly go back?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if he even gave them specifics. Let's go back. I'm gonna ask us a question.
Excuse me.
Oh my.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, I think it's like kind of right here. No, that's when he's talking to.
Was it like when they got to Baucus's chicken house #1?
Okay, let's see. Thank you, Miss Miranda. I don't know what's wrong with my throat. Okay, so you're saying that you think the question is framed more so right before, like when they got here.
Yeah, like right when they get out of the hole into the chicken house. That's the only time I can think of it.
Right. So maybe I should keep going.
I think it would be one more page.
One more. I agree. Okay, I get what you're saying now. Mm.
What was the question again?
The question was.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's not like a specific answer, but I
Yeah.
think that he says something to them. So what is he telling them to do?
All right, I see it.
You got it? Yeah, I
Yeah.
got it. Okay, so if we found it, we think that you all can find it. Once again, we're learning this together. We're not going to ask you questions that we don't think you can find the answers to. Anybody want to take this?
I saw Denila's hand up.
You did? Okay, let's go ahead and do denial.
After they got out of the tunnel, Mr. Fox said, go take the chickens to their mother.
No, you're a little ahead. Think a little bit behind. And we're thinking about like right when they get out of the tunnel.
We're talking about right when they got to like underneath before they get out of the tunnel. Let's see. Jayana. Or we can go with Jayana. I'll say Alex. But Jayana, what did Mr. Fox tell them to do?
Can you repeat that?
The question was when they were about to get out the tunnel, what did Mr. Fox order, like say to the small foxes, to his children? He told them what?
Be very quiet. I will take a peek.
Yeah, I mean, and this question, after Miss Williams asked this question, I realized that this might not have been a good worded question because in the text, it really doesn't say like that the foxes were about to get out the tunnel and he said something to them. But I think that what you said, Jayana, would be what I was thinking. Am I correct, Miss Miranda? Was that around what you were thinking?
I was thinking, and that goes into the poorly worded question. I think I saw come on up and see where you are.
So
that's what I was thinking.
This.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes what I think we can learn from this, and this will be our last question because we'll revisit this next on Wednesday. What I think that we can learn from this is just the question and how it was worded. What does Mr. Fox order the small foxes to do when they come out of the tunnel. I mean, order can be taken a lot of ways,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's why you went more so with the come on up. Whereas I
Mhm.
was thinking about, well, I didn't really see anything that he said do, so I just made an inference on what I think it could be.
And I honestly like what you and Jayana saw more
Right,
because that seems more like an order.
right. Like be very quiet when you come up, but then you can be saying, "Come on up." So once again, sometimes with questions, there's no one right answer, and I see some of us shaking our head because we realize that. And so what Ms. Williams will do, I'm going to look at these questions, and I'm going to choose maybe 3 or 4, and we will answer those questions on Wednesday. But thank you all for your patience. Thank you everyone who read today. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I think that that is all that I have for you all today. Okay.